Good afternoon, everybody. Before I get started, I want to share with you some information not only on how we implemented our mobile platform, but maybe some reasons why you would want to implement a mobile platform. Quick question. More people in the world have access to what? Toothbrushes, mobile phone subscriptions, or running water? It's an interesting question. You're comparing mobile phone usage to everyday items. But the answer is mobile phone subscriptions, which is very interesting these days. A study showed that in 2011, 6 billion mobile subscriptions had been subscribed to. And then they predict in 2016 that 8 billion will be subscribed to. That's a lot of mobile phone subscriptions. Another interesting fact, they interviewed some kids right here in the UK, ages 7 to 11. 79% of them owned a mobile phone versus 73% owned a book of their own. So it's a very good indication of where the world is going. Now, moving over to the workforce. The new knowledge worker, percent of the information an average knowledge worker can retain to do his or her job. In 1986, they could retain 75% of the information. In 2006, that dropped to 8 to 10% of what they are retaining to do their job. So there's definitely a shift going on here, and we need to figure out what we can do to counteract that shift. So what are the solutions? M-learning. It's not just e-learning on a smartphone. It's somehow contextually moving that information, relevant intelligence at the moment of need. So making it more of a resource tool as opposed to more of a data down to everybody. Brings us to Sonic's challenge. We have a constantly changing business environment. So we needed to provide our managers with current, time-sensitive, and relevant information, something that they can get their fingertips on at an instant, and we can push critical food safety type information out to them at any time. So we knew we had an opportunity. All of our managers, or most of them anyway, had access to a mobile phone. They carried it with them 24 hours a day. So we knew that they had the mobile device that can go anywhere. They can go on the lot. They can go home. They can go everywhere and still receive this critical information. And we also knew the smartphone could deliver short pieces of relevant information, supplementing our leader-led materials, LMS, and our extranet, not necessarily replacing it, but as a support tool. So our first step of our process was to select a development or delivery platform. You basically have two choices. You have the custom app or you have a mobile platform. And looking at the custom app solution, obviously very, very costly, took months to develop, very vendor dependent as far as updates go, and then heavy IT and vendor support, versus a mobile platform, which is a lower cost definitely, weeks instead of months to deploy. It's client dependent. I can put the updates in myself. I'm not dependent on anybody else, and very minimal IT or vendor support, or in my case, pretty much zero. I want to show you just a quick look at the features. We chose a product called Ktango, and this was our LMS cert point. They offered a product like this, and when they showed it to us, we thought it would fit our situation perfectly. So this is what the delivery side of it, or the user side of it, looks like. There's searching capabilities where you can type in one word and pull up any of the information that's available in the app. There's a barcode reader. We are not currently using this, but we can definitely see us using this in the future, where we can put barcode information in the drive-in, and they can scan it with their phone and automatically pull up relevant information right from there. There's alerts, which is crucial to us. With food safety items going along, anything food related, anything like that, we can push out alerts to our managers instantly. And so that's a very, very useful feature. Surveys. This is perfect for getting feedback from our stores and our managers. Are we doing this right? Is this the right direction that we're headed? So we can create surveys and then put them out there for them to utilize. There's a community feature where they can communicate back and forth with each other. We're not currently using this right now either, but we plan to in the future. There's an experts feature that allows them to instantly get access to their market leaders or our field staff. So they have all their information in there. They can get instant access to their phone numbers and text. And then finally, of course, there's the profile where they can edit their personal information. Now this is the development side of it. This is what I see when I go into development. This is web-based. And it's drag and drop. Very, very simple. You don't need to be a graphics designer or anything like that to develop your app. On the left-hand side, you'll see all the objects, title, links, lists, videos, images. Simply click on them, drag them over. If you need to upload anything, upload it directly from your PC. You can click preview and see what it looks like, what it's going to look like out there. If you like it, publish, and you're done. That's it. That's all there is to it. And as far as the videos go, they automatically translate to whatever device that somebody's using. So you don't have to publish different formats of the video. So that's very nice as well. Our next step is to determine the target audience. Store managers, first of all. There are operators. We don't want to deliver it to crew or anyone of that level. It's all managers and above. Market leaders, which is our field team, people out there working for us in the field. Our corporate office, of course. And then finally, we need to determine which device that we wanted to use. We've decided to go with the Android and the iOS for Apple. So those are the decisions we made up front. And then third, we want to define our content framework. What type of content would be key to the end users, something that they could easily adopt and an awesome experience for them. We needed the content to be brief, relevant, time-sensitive, so they could quickly have access to it. It's not anything that we want them to have to read through or anything lengthy. Again, a quick resource tool for our managers. We also wanted this to be an extension of our current training program, not replacing it, just an additional tool for them to be able to use as a resource. And now came the design process. Of course, we put a team together and we structured and grouped our content, made sure we had the right pieces of information that we wanted to deliver. We could develop our own icons, so we could design that ourselves, the look and feel, so it flowed along with our branding and our culture. So that was very nice. And then again, repurpose the content. We don't want to put the same content out there that we put on our extranet, but we, maybe pieces of that information. So we looked at all that and we, tried to repurpose it for the mobile platform. Okay, and this is an example of our end product. So we basically have, 8 to 10 different categories. These are the categories that we decided upon. And then once you tap on one of those, it comes open to another screen where you have several more options. And so then you can kind of divide the information out that way. Tap on one of those, and then you get the final information. And you can restructure this in many different ways. Okay? Our next step would be to gain executive buy-in. So what we did is we did a live demo to our executive team, and we gave each one their own personal login so they could follow me live as I went through it with them. And that generated all kinds of excitement. They really, really loved it. And actually, as our president left the room, he actually stated, this will be a game changer for our brand. Once he said that, we knew this was it. We were on the right track. So then after that, we got our support. We're ready to go out and start piloting the product. And our pilot objectives. Of course, we want to create a communication. We did a one-pager that went through the installation instructions, all the features of the product, and sent it out to our pilot group. We definitely wanted to test the functionality on the iPhone as well as the Android. We wanted to also test the content that we decided upon and make sure that we were headed in the right direction for that. And again, finally, we wanted to build more champions behind it. And the pilot participants, we had 2 different pilots. The first one was franchisees, corporate users, and company-owned stores. And that encompassed about 50 different users. And then our second pilot was our entire field team. Again, we really wanted to get their support from the field team as well. And that was 50 users. And then the final piece of the pilot was creating the survey for the pilot feedback. And it lets you do not only multiple choice type questions, but it actually lets them input their information. And that's right from the application, right after they went through and tested it all, then they could right then do their survey feedback. And here's the results. 95% of the results were in support of the tool. 96% said that they would recommend it to others. And 95% gave it a rating good or higher, which is incredible. For a brand new platform, a brand new tool, it's an incredible result. And these are some of the actual feedback remarks that we received. Ease of use, ease of access and speed, information at my fingertips, ability to have access to crucial information, very easy to use, fast and easy, helped me with my job. Couldn't have gotten any better from that, really. So we were ready to roll it out at that point. And what we started was with some pre-launch activity. And we took it to our Sonic National Convention, which was last fall, I believe. And we just had a little demo set up for everyone to come by and look at. And when they came by and they looked at it, and we showed them all the functionality, they pulled out their phones and said, I want it. Please, can I install it? We weren't quite ready for that, but just the feedback that we received from our convention was incredible. And it of course, generated awareness of the tool. And then we started our communication plan. We gave more demos. We went to the Franchise Advisory Council and different areas and gave some demos. We introduced it on our LMS, our extranet, and as well as printed materials. And then our next steps were to incorporate all the feedback that we received, make sure we put it into our final product, complete the development pieces of it. We still had a few more pieces of content that we wanted to add to it. And we also did an auto integration with our LMS, which is what was great about having CertPoint in charge of both products, is that we could integrate and synchronize the managers from our LMS right into Ktango. So they have just one login, so it's all synchronized. And that happens about every day. And then finally, all that's left to do is go live. So, and here's our success criteria. This is kind of what we're trying to measure everything on. Reduce critical incidents, increase mystery shop scores, increase food safety scores, decrease customer complaints, and hopefully, once we get it implemented more, we can get some of those results and meet those goals. Lessons learned. Users' experience differ slightly on device. The Android device looked a little bit different than the iOS device, but it's good to know that and see how all that plays out. You can't just take PC content and repurpose it for the mobile. You really have to go in and pick it apart and make sure that it formats really well on the mobile. And then structure of the content is very, very important to the user experience, making sure it flows correctly, making sure you've got the right content out there, and then you group it the right way. And then you need a balance of having enough information and not too much information. Nobody wants to scroll through a mobile phone with a ton of information, so it's very important that you do that. And actually, the users were more ready for it than we were, so we were sort of surprised by that and very pleased by that as well. And then the enterprise mobile platform can be rolled out with, that would be me, the part-time resource, because I also manage our LMS. So we rolled it out in literally weeks and with just me, so and support from the vendor. So that's all I have for you for right now.
I know that was a whistle-stop tour and an incredible amount of good practice, really good practice was included within that program, just in terms of aligning to the business first, not just going with mobile, in terms of the way you run your pilots, the way you're thinking about content, that you're thinking about what you're trying to achieve for the business. And I think that was really helpful and useful. I'm just thinking we do have a couple of moments for questions for Stephany. If anyone is at that early stages and wants to kind of maybe dig into one or two of those ideas that Stephany kind of put forward. Yeah, let me ask.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that there's lots of content and not all of it is fit for purpose for mobile. Right. What principles do you use for instructional design for mobile learning?
Well, a lot of what I got from our directors and VPs that were trying to put content on there, they wanted to hand me PDFs, and they wanted me to put the entire PDF on there. So I just kind of look at the information and I ask them can you narrow that down? What are the most important pieces out of this document that you want to implement with this? And they would do that. They would say this, 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 and this, and I would say, okay, then that's what we'll put on there. So it was kind of hard to get the executives to sort of narrow it down, but that is sort of was my goal and my intent whenever I met with them to, if they could narrow that down for me. So really the most critical information of what they want you to provide.
Absolutely. Craig.
Hi, Stephany.
Hello.
Apologies, as well, it was a whistle stop to us. Apologies if you mentioned this. Apologies if you mentioned this, but I missed it. But the feedback that you stated at the end, that we're in the high 90s and it was very positive, which was great. Before you started on it, though, what was it that led you down the route to decide that a native mobile app would have been the best option? Was it a gut feeling? Was it a fairly safe bet that, you know what, lots of people have got smartphones, they've got apps on them, we've probably hitting the right audience here? Or did you do anything from a more consultative approach with your learners to determine if that was the right thing?
No, we kind of just threw it on them. We didn't have any preconceived ideas. We didn't really tell the community that we were doing this. We just knew there was a need for it. We have critical information that we would disseminate over email or over our extranet. Nobody was reading it. No one, people just were not, it wasn't easy to log in to get that type of information. And it was just the perfect application for the type of information. I mean, if there's a critical, food safety item on tomatoes, that everyone in the world needs to know, how do we get that information out to them? What's the quickest way? We typically would email. But this way, we can instantly get it out to them, and if they've got it on their phone, which they carry around with them, they've got it right there.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or observations on whether you kind of relate to some of the things that Stephany's been sharing today in your own organisation? Okay. Well, I think there's some really practical things that we can be doing in that. And I think what was encouraging for me was when you said that actually your users were more enthused about using mobile than you are. So taking that step of courage. And I certainly find in our benchmark that often we're a little bit nervous about what we think our learners will accept and will do. And obviously you've shown that you've been able to tap into something that was really important to them and support them in their work as well. And I think that's a good point, because what we're going to be looking at is how can we use the mobile technology, content on the mobile, to really sort of move into supporting individuals at their moment of need. And we're going to be asking Jeremy Smith to be sharing with us from Herman Miller, which is a global organization responsible for pushing out furniture around the globe and have over 9,000 people. And I think you were very much inspired by Bob Mosher, weren't you, from Intuitive on his 5 moments of need. Is Bob in the room?
Bob is here, yes.
Bob, did you want to just quickly before... Bob's spoken at our conferences many, many times. He's a great speaker. So we just thought it might be an idea just to hear a couple of kind of points of inspiration that kind of got Jeremy on his journey.
No pressure there. Well, welcome everyone. It's nice to be a part of the intro into Jeremy. How many of you here in the room are making concerted effort at performance support in your learning efforts right now when you offer your training? Number? Yeah. Well, the gentleman you're about to meet has been on this journey for a number of years, and it's been exciting to watch. There's a lady named Judy Brown in the States who's sort of our guru of this whole mobile world, and she said she's looked at well over 1,000 mobile learning deployments and actually says that maybe labeling them mobile learning in the first place was wrong. Only because she says 80% of what she sees are really mobile support. She doesn't see a lot of actually what we as IDs or learning people would call learning on a mobile in the sense of a lesson or teaching, as much as informational and helping people to get information at their fingertips. And I think you'll see Jeremy and his journey has included the full spectrum of what are known as the 5 moments of need for learners, which are when they learn for the first time, when they want to learn more, when they try to remember or apply, when they try to keep up, or when things go wrong. And for so long we have been focused on moments 1 and 2, first and new, but to support a full learner, and with technologies like mobile, things like you're about to see and that Stephany shared are wonderful ways of us as instructors to not just go to mobile and abandon the others, but enable our good moments 1 and 2 instruction we do now with these powerful tools that live in the context of learning. So you'll see some exciting stuff here. So thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bob.
Sure, Darren.